Madam Speaker, members of the body, I rise with some hesitancy. There's only one other member who's been here longer than me, the gentleman from Fairfax. And during my tenure of service in this body, I was first elected when there was Democrat governor, Governor Wilder, Democrat-controlled House and Senate. But Madam Speaker, members of the body, as I was elected in that 1989 election, by less than 51%, I realized my job as delegate, regardless of the power balance here in the General Assembly and the capital area, was to represent not only the 51% who voted for me, but the other 49% who had just as soon had someone else in this seat. Madam Speaker, members of the body, it's a political fact in all reigns of government that the majority is going to control the outcome. But that being said, Madam Speaker, members of the body, when I was first elected as that little number 96 freshman Republican, and measures came forward, I was afforded the ability to go to my Democrat peers. I remember distinctly going to Delegate Earl Dickinson's office on matters that I had concerns with, how they were going to affect the citizens in my district. And I knew at the end of the day, Earl and his cohorts was going to control the outcome. But Madam Speaker, amazingly, my concerns were heard. My concerns were considered. And yes, believe it or not, they were even sometimes addressed. They got the credit, and that was fine because that's what democracy is all about and the only way it works. Madam Speaker, members of the body, I rise today sadly because, in my opinion, it's very ironic that as we gather here in Richmond today, in Virginia, the cradle of democracy, on the anniversary of the actual signing in 1776 of the Declaration of Independence, I don't see us operating as a democracy, but rather, Madam Speaker and members of the body, as an autocracy. The distinction being an autocracy means I have the votes, so I'm going to control the outcome. Madam Speaker, I say this because as we are being shut out on our side of the process, not being allowed to represent our constituents, both Republican and Democrat, as these matters of weighty interest and budget implications are coming before us, as they affect our districts, we're not being allowed, or we're not allowing all Virginians to be heard. Operating as an autocracy, not as a democracy. Madam Speaker, members of the body, as the youngest and smallest of a family of 8, I'm kind of used to being in that minority position. And there were many times over my childhood, I can remember mom or dad, either one, telling one of my older siblings, just because you can, doesn't mean you should. Madam Speaker, my hope and prayer for this body, for this state, for this body of government, is that we may heed my parents' counsel to my siblings, and a message that I took personally as well, because I knew there would be circumstances in my life coming where I would have the power to do things. But that just because I could doesn't mean I should. May we heed those words and return to setting the example of what the cradle of democracy is supposed to be about.